welcome back to my channel. I'm Liam. 2,412 for me this week. Pretty pleased with that score in the end. A few very handy scores in there, especially Captain Bontempelli for this week. Helped a lot. Disappointing forward line. With my trades this week, I had both Duncan and Impey out. Traded Duncan, unfortunately, to Crouch. Had a choice between Crouch and Simpkin and lost 40 on that move, but oh well. And then held Impey just to play Waitman this week because saving trade. So had to play a rookie on the field this week, which cost me 50-odd points as well. But all in all, pretty pleased to anytime you move down the ranks, you take that up 417 spots to 7,300, a little bit more respectable, but I feel like my team is in a pretty solid position at this very stage to keep moving up the ranks. This round, Stuart, disappointing on the Thursday night. We all saw what happened. He was on, 8 points at half time, manning up Cameron. He did get 50 in the second half, which was which was a positive. He is fairly popularly owned, so his score doesn't overly influence a lot, but it does help. His 58 does help for people who don't have him have a chance in a few weeks to pick him up, but he'll bounce back for sure. Whitfield, very nice, 116, was just everywhere in that game. Loves an uncontested possession. He does need a lot of possessions to get to this score, but he just is a ball magnet and a good pick, and not overly popularly owned as well. Good little pod to run home with. Short, another ton, very solid. Again, like Stewart, he's pretty popularly owned in that top echelon of teams, so doesn't have a big influence on ranks. Ridley, a nice 111. Positive signs. His role is a little bit better, taking a few more kick-outs and taking more intercept marks than in the last couple of weeks, which is good to see. Hopefully he can continue this form and repay me paying 600k for him in round 3. So hopefully he can continue this form. Salem was very nice. His disposal efficiency in that game was incredible. I think he went at 95%, had 25 possessions. Unfortunately, all of them were pretty much uncontested, but it still got him to 114. A bit disappointing in the last few weeks, but good game off his bye, and hopefully he can continue his run. Got GWS this week. We'll have to see about that. But Melbourne does seem to give up a few cheap +6s in the back line, so watch for Whitfield and Haynes and possibly Taranto in the coming weeks. Essendon tend to feast on that. I know they don't give you many SuperCoach points, but handy +4 here and there is good. Haynes, very happy with this pick. I picked up 2 weeks ago, 95, 94. Doing exactly what I want from him, making 60, 70k in the last 2 weeks. He was probably planned to possibly be traded out this week, but I've got Impey to deal with. So another price rise, and with a downgrade, I can bring him for a premium midfielder in 2 weeks' time. But it's just been a nice little stepping stone at D6. Even though some teams would probably still have Highmore at D6 and scored 91. Impressive. The thing is, he's pretty much got no use in my team at the moment other than backup. With Waitman being a downgrade this week, I only have 3 trades left with the upgrade of Impey. And then trading Haynes to a premium midfielder, which gives me 2 trades left. So Highmore becomes overly not very useful. Just hopefully he'll be back up for my defenders in the last couple of weeks. Also, Bianco, he'll probably slip back to my midfield after I traded Jones to Briggs via Bianco and Brockman. I did that on the Saturday, so Sharp. I couldn't move Sharp up, but all in all, he's making some solid cash after a disappointing last week. But where all the action was this week was midfield. It was on fire. Bontempelli, amazing 156. That goal in the last quarter, woof, it just summed it all up. 3 goals, heaps of possessions. Great score, now over 700k. He's just a great captain option, along with McRae. Slow start for McRae, but his last second half was very good. He scored 85 in the second half. Helped those who captained him over Bontempelli. I was half cheering for Bontempelli, half like McRae. Don't get too close to him, but you'd take if they're in your team, just take the score and run. Oliver, 105, didn't meet his 120 expectations, which I thought he would get. But if you get a ton, that's a positive in my team. Laird, 109. Disappointing second half after he was on 80 odd. But he's very popularly owned and doesn't influence the ranks overly much. Cunnington, a nice little pod pick I've got here, 126, absolute gun, contested beast. I just love watching him play. He was on 80 odd at half time as well, slowed down in the second half, but he's just great to watch. That first 5 minutes, he had a contested possession, 2 intercept marks, and then another contested clearance. It was just good. He's just SuperCoach gold to watch. Merritt needed a lot of ball to get to 147, but he was amazing. Had a new little role on the wing. He played not too many centre bounces as he usually does, but was just out there on the wing. Cheap kicks on that half-back flank wing area. He just racked it up. Loves a tackle. Brilliant game by him. Crouch was disappointing. Should have probably expected this, but it was between him and Simpkin, but I didn't want to have 4 North players in my team. Ideally, should have gone Simpkin with a 122, but Crouch, he's still got to 80 odd in the end for a bad game. He was on 20 odd, 25 I think at half time, so he had a 60-point second half, which is a positive. He did rack it up late. He scored 22, I think, fantasy points in the last 2 minutes of this game. I don't know what that accumulated SuperCoach-wise was scaling. Probably gave him like 5. But he has the ability to go large. Was just a bit fumbly. Wet conditions didn't suit him that much, but hopefully he can bounce back. Taranto just scores his solid 100 each week. Gets a lot of ball, but doesn't use it overly well. But we'll take 100 and move on. Gorn, 103. Very slow start, like again, similar to Oliver, but picked up as the game got late. He was I feel like he got underscored a little bit with some of his hit outs to advantage that weren't being given. But that's you can't change those how they score it. So take the 103. He's very popularly owned by a lot of people, so I don't think as like Laird, not overly much influence in the ranks. Grundy, 135. It's good. This one's more of a pod, as some people trade him out for his couple of weeks layoff. So this 135 hurts those teams. Nick Nat didn't go huge, I don't think. From what I can remember, I think it was only about 100. So that's 30 of those teams. And hopefully he looked very good. Didn't look to be affected by his injury at all. So hopefully he can continue this run and probably becomes captain options in the next couple of weeks as he is fit. But it'll be hard with the gun midfield with Oliver, Bontempelli, McRae in there. There's also great BC and captain options. Disappointing forward line this week. Hall wasn't overly suited to the conditions, but in the end, the ball just did not come down there very often. Gold Coast had, I think, 30 inside 50s for the whole game. It was good to watch as a North supporter, the scoreline, but not overly for scoring for Hall. We still got 88 DT points, so we still had a fair bit of the ball. But like Zeeble, he did well to get to 98 Zeeble, but he's, again, like a Gorn lad. Everyone has him. No influence on the ranks. Bolton, this was very disappointing. I had a shocking start to the week with Stewart, Crouch, Bolton. Martin didn't get his ton. He was just nowhere to be seen with Prestia back. Wasn't at as many centre bounces as usual, but he usually relies a little bit on his scoring on a couple of goals, and Richmond only kicked 2 for the game. There's 30 points gone from that score, and the game was over. He only was on 15 at the half, and the game was pretty much over. Scaling wasn't much of a factor in that second half, so he did well to get to 44 in the end, but a bit disappointing after his long run of 95 pluses. That was his first score under 95 since round 3. But everyone has their off day. Unfortunately, it was this week. Martin, 94, impressive for parts of the game. Slowed down late. Only scored, I think, 10 in the last quarter. But I feel like 95% of teams have him. Had Danaher looped. I was a positive of the Thursday night, kicking a few 4 snags, 112. Unfortunately, he probably relies on too much of those to score highly. I would much prefer having Zorko in my team over him. Brisbane have a pretty nice run home, so it'll be tempting just to leave him at F6 for the rest of the year. Waitman, disappointing, 41. That's including a goal. Just couldn't get near it. He'll be probably traded out this week to give me some cash for the final upgrade in a few weeks' time. I think he's pretty much maxed out in price. Could provide handy cover, but throwing up 40s doesn't give me much confidence. Briggs was pretty good with a 77, but them losing, I'm a bit worried with his job security if they just bring Mumford straight back. But yeah, that'll probably be the decisive factor whether I trade Waitman. If Briggs can hold his spot and hold a F7 cover down, then that'll be all good. Impey I just used him as a loop this week because I'm planning to get him to Dangerfield and only having to get rid of Duncan to Crouch. I just downgraded Jones to Briggs to give me cash to get Impey up to Dangerfield, but I am tempted to go Waitman to down as well and go Impey all the way up to Zorko. It's just hard to think, am I paying 150k more for Zorko over a Dangerfield? It just doesn't sound right. But we'll wait and see. I feel like I'll play safe, go Danger, and then utilise the 200k, probably upgrading Haynes to probably the Jack Steele type, Took Miller in a few weeks' time. So, till tomorrow.